Holy cow, we're on time, everybody! It's exactly 7 o'clock Pacific, and it's 10 o'clock Eastern, I presume. And it is the Society Sound Off. It is our 14th time we've done this, and our 30th overall episode 30.4, it's the Sound Off, number 14, and it's just freeform. We're just going to talk about stuff. We run out of time to talk about stuff during our regular broadcast, so we have this extra segment, sort of as like bonus coverage. And you get that right here, right now, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. We got lots of different stuff. Davey's going to whine about something or other. I'm going to talk about a film that Davey recommended back in 2015. And what else is happening? Oh, I've got a top 5, which is everybody's favorite segment. My top 5 this time is top 5 Matthew McConaughey films. And that's going to happen all tonight. And discussions there with that. And J Money's just going to, like, chill. He's going to sit back, chill, drink beer. This is J Money. Hi, J Money.
This is me. I'm just going to drink, and I'm going to listen to you guys, and I'm going to pass out.
That's our favorite J Money. Cheers to you, and happy 60th to me.
Happy 60th to you. You don't look a day over 59.
Thank you. You're the third person to tell me that. And our other co-host who are here, you're going to see him shortly with his Diatribe, is Mr. Davie. How you feel? You're lower third. What happened to it?
Shoot. Hold on.
Yeah, damn.
Damn.
God damn
You blew it. So that was Davie. He's upset. He's in Las Vegas tonight, so maybe he is drunk Davie. So maybe that's why he didn't have a thing with Jigger. Here's where we're at. So this is our full schedule tonight. We're at the end of the night. So if you're interested in any of these other previous shows, Free State of Jones, J Money, while off camera, was saying that he's really pleased with all our discussions tonight. So check them out. Free State of Jones. Was our current feature, Circumstance or Any Spotlight. We just finished Grapes of Wrath. Do you have a preference about any of those discussions, J Money, like that you thought was a particularly good episode?
Halfway through a chip. I think we brought our gay game to everything.
Are you eating something?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I think that people definitely need to check out our Grapes of Wrath discussion that just ended up.
Okay, Grapes of Wrath is his favorite. Davey, do you have a favorite?
Circumstance.
Circumstance. All right. So he's just making stuff up. If you want to see any of them, subscribe, and you get notifications. Subscribe to our page on YouTube, No Name Cinema Society. What up? Because that's I'm hip like that with the what up. All right. It's time for a segment that has become very good. Here is Davie's Diatribe, and I just want to point out a very strong difference from the last time you've seen this graphic. Our buddy Davie here has gotten a little shy, and he made J Money take his photo off. I'm a little depressed about this. J Money, he's in agreement for making us take it off. He has agreed to let us make fun of him mercilessly for this.
I've never had anything bad to say about Davy Joe since day one. He is like a golden icon to me, like somebody I worship and relish, basically. So he can do whatever he wants. That's fine. I like the fact that now we've emphasized explosions. Explosions are kind of like the bigger thing for people. So.
I just want to point out, though, he did say that we have free reign to make fun of him. It was part of the negotiation.
What happened was it became the thumbnail for the last Sound Off.
And I haven't had a chance to change it yet, but it's also the most successful Sound Off we've had.
Drawing him in. Well, okay, I will try to make fun of you as much as possible, Davy Joe. If that's part of your settlement agreement. That's fine with me.
Well, at least regarded to refusing to have his photo on these slides anymore. Davy Joe, you do know that your face is on camera right now, right? You do know that we see you.
Yeah, it's not a it's moving. It's not just a picture that was taken.
I totally get it. I'm with Davy Joe in this. I totally understand that. I mean, that's why I appear in disguise.
Davy Joe's vanity is going to be the end of us before we're all said and done.
That's vanity.
All right. So what we've been doing for Davie's Diatribe is I've been holding up these numbers of hot button topics going on in Hollywood right now, and so Davie picks a number. I flash around the card, and then he has to talk about the topic. And J Money usually has a thing or two to say. So, there are the numbers. There's 3 of them there. Ooh, this way.
Do you feel lucky?
What are you thinking, Davy Joe?
I mean, this seems incredibly relevant since you're in Las Vegas.
3.
Sorry, what's that?
3.
3. He's going with 3, so I'm putting these 2 down, and I'm going to flip it around. And, all right, movies to TV shows. So the deal with this one is there is a prevalence of, you might have heard, movies that are being turned into TV shows this pilot season. Several of them picked up. Do you need me to list them for you, or do you have a general sense of what they are?
I have let me see here. Let me pull up. I think I know what we're dealing with.
For the case of the viewers and for J Money, I'm gonna give them the list if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so go on.
Okay, great. So I don't have a graphic, but just so people will need to listen. TV pilots for movies this year alone include Training Day, Lethal Weapon, The Exorcist, Taken, Emerald City, which of course is Wizard of Oz, Cruel Intentions, Frequency, Uncle Buck, Westworld, First Wives Club, Urban Cowboy, J Money's favorite, Tremors, and Beverly Hills Cop, which Beverly Hills Cop famously did not go to series. That's not including some of the failed premises, including Minority Report, Rush Hour, Limitless, Dominion, Hannibal, and the Sarah Connor Chronicles, just in the last 4 to 5 years. Davie Joe, how do you feel about all these movie transfers to the small screen?
I mean, I think it's. I definitely think it can work, but I don't like it.
And that's Davie's Diatribe, everybody. Thank you very much for playing along.
Jesus.
Oh,
anyway.
J Money loves it. Go ahead, Davie.
Yeah. It just seems like there's so much good television now, and there's so many good ideas. Why do we need to go into movies and steal the ideas? Now look, it can work. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not going to say that I won't watch one of these shows if it ends up being a good show. I mean, everyone said Hannibal was a great show, even though they canceled it.
It's canceled, yeah.
So it's not a bad idea. I'm looking at this list really quickly. I think The Exorcist could be interesting. Emerald City could be interesting, and Tremors could be interesting. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know about none of them. None of them seem that exciting to me.
It's funny that the one that stands out to me as having a lot of potential is actually Taken, because it's taking the character when he was younger, and seeing his adventures, how he developed a special set of skills. It's a prequel series. That actually seems like it has potential.
Okay, I mean, well, that does sound interesting to me now that you've explained it to me, because I was wondering, like, was this guy gonna have like a really, really big family that we didn't know about, and like each episode someone else gets taken? Like, it just seems like it just seems kind of tough.
So, I mean, like, in terms of you not understanding this, or not liking it, like, what exactly don't you like about it?
Well, I mean, it's just recycling ideas. I mean, I think it's part of it. It kind of goes to the problem with the box office and sequels being kind of a flop this year. I just think that people are tired of seeing the same stuff again. Even if the new thing is an improvement over the first one, I think that people just kind of want to see something new and fresh, and this is not going to give it to them.
The other one that I think has the potential to do well is HBO's Westworld. Do you know the movie?
What is? I didn't see the movie.
The movie's like older, 1970s, but basically it takes place on, like, it's almost like Jurassic Park in the sense, like, there's, mute me while I'm talking, or mute yourself, or I don't get feedback. But it takes place in like a theme park in a western town type thing, like it's the Old West, but it's like a fake Old West, and it has these animatronic, at least the movie has these like animatronic cowboys, like robots essentially. It's a future. It takes place in the future that looks back at the Old West, and like all the characters are robots, and you get to like fake live in this Old West world where like it's like robots are like the cowboys and Indians type people, but then the robots start to AI starts to think for itself type thing, and everything goes to hell. That's the premise of the movie. Anthony Hopkins is in the show, though. I can tell you that much.
Oh, that's interesting.
Let me break in for a second because I'm actually a huge fan of the original movie and also its follow-up, Future World, which is kind of campy. Westworld also stars Yul Brynner as as the villain cowboy, and his performance in it is fantastic. I mean, Davie Joe, you would love this movie. I think you should definitely check it out.
And I mean, he can't be titular because then it would need to be Mr. Westworld if he was going to be a titular character.
Yul Brynner World, which would be definitely a better title for it, but that's okay. Also, I mean, just from what JB was saying, it's not so much that it's just about the West. It's also actually about a bunch of different time periods that sort of, and everybody can sort of choose the fantasy that they want to live in, and then the fantasy corrupts and breaks down, and they get kind of destroyed by their own sort of hubris in a certain way. But it's fascinating, and it has a lot of things to say. And JB, of everything that you talked about, the Westworld series for HBO is the thing I'm really actually excited to watch. I'm really excited to see them explore that idea in that universe more.
Okay, so yeah, that's the one. Now, J Money, what are you thinking about this? All these it's more than normal the amount of TV movies that are being translated to TV. What's going on?
Well, I'll echo Davie Joe's sentiment to some degree. It's been a meme for a long time, but Hollywood is out of ideas. I mean, it's just I think that there's such a movement towards having cinematic TV now, and to seeing how people sort of also actually use the content for TV where they can binge it in different ways, and they spend more time actively involving themselves in long sort of stories with long narrative arcs. People seem to be moving in that direction one way or the other. It just feels like it's part of the way that the content's delivered now. So it feels like it's a natural extension for Hollywood to get much more involved in TV and vice versa. But let me echo what Davie Joe said. I don't think that. I think there's too much exploration of things that we've already seen. I'd rather see more original content than this. To me, it's kind of annoying that there's all these properties that we're already kind of familiar with that they're just going to take and reconfigure and redo whatever. I mean, I see your point about Taken. Certainly, there's some interesting things there, but after a while, I don't want to just constantly be re-eating the same thing. I want something new.
Now, the other thing I want to tell you about Tremors is Kevin Bacon is in the TV show Tremors.
Good for Kevin Bacon, because obviously that guy doesn't get enough work, and you hardly ever hear about him anymore. Certainly, he's not connected to anyone anymore. So, great for him to revisit that. No, look, Tremors has this very special place in my heart. It's had many iterations of straight-to-video sequels. Was there also possibly another TV series that was before?
Yes.
Yeah, which was terrible, as I recall. I think it was on Sci-Fi or something like that. Or maybe USA, I don't remember. But
I guess 12 Monkeys is another one I forgot about.
12 Monkeys, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
So, Davie Joe, wrap it up for us. What, sum up your feelings about this whole situation. And what is there a solution? Like, what needs to be done? What do you want to do?
There's a solution. The solution is, look, there doesn't need to be a solution if these are successful. If they continue to fail the way they have been, though, I think they need to stop doing it. I mean, there's plenty of good ideas, I'm sure, for television. I mean, we see successful television shows are popping up all the time. There's so much TV that everyone is into right now. So I just don't know that they need to do this.
But I think that's proportional to J Money's out of ideas. I mean, because there's more channels. There's more outlets, and so the rush for ideas is greater. It's like supply and demand, it's IP, so it's not as tangible. But at the same time, you're starving for ideas. And the other thing about these recognizable properties that you have to remember is they sell well overseas because our television shows dominate a lot of foreign markets.
Well, I was just going to say one quick other little thing is that we're also seeing a migration from television to movies in a way that I don't think we've seen before as well. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been a spate of movies lately, especially coming from HBO, where they've taken series and developed movies to sort of cap them off.
I mean, that does not feel like a trend because they've been so unsuccessful. Like the original Sex and the City movie was successful, but then the sequel was so disastrous. Entourage was like a terrible disaster. It does not feel like a trend yet.
Well, like Together is coming out pretty soon, I think, right?
Togetherness.
Togetherness, or am I thinking about the right thing? I'm not thinking about the right thing, but it just feels like I don't feel like I would have. I guess I feel like that also feels like a new transition. I don't feel like there was as many like TV shows jumping.
Let's revisit that in a year and see if that's actually a trend. I'm not so sure. Like that might just be like some anomalies here and there, especially if it's coming from one network.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna move on. You guys good?
Good.
Thumbs up.
That was Davies Diatribe.
It's all about the sound effects.
Yeah. I know. Just so you know, there should be a picture of Davie right on this this slide here, guys. But there isn't right now. It's a terrible incident. Now I have an update. I have an update for you guys. It's just in on my phone. The director of that short I was telling you guys about has just, while we've been here, has been in touch with Nicole Boucheri from Circumstance about playing the role in that short. It's a small role, 2 days filming. And so that apparently has happened. Apparently she's very sweet and kind and potentially interesting.
That's good to hear.
So, you know, all that's happening. It's all tied in to this night. So that text just came in, and that's kind of exciting. So I am ready to move on to the next segment. And I have a new graphic for this segment. Unfortunately, Davie Joe's face isn't on it. This is this is our society's second run, we call this. And basically the concept behind this is, so if one of us has not seen a movie like, I'm trying to think of an example, or like Westworld, like we just talked about Westworld, then it goes on a list, and then if we go back and watch that movie that we hadn't seen before, this is the area that we talk about it in, you know, to sort of re-bring it up now that we've potentially all seen it. So that's where I'm at. So Davie's Diatribe, when it first started out, it used to be this thing where he just sort of like, you know, sat down in a corner and just listed movies and TV shows that he saw. And one of them that he saw is a movie from 2015 that he recommended. It surprised J Money and I that he recommended it. But because he recommended it, it added to my list. I went back and I saw it. It was episode 17.4 that he mentioned it, and here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that photo.
That's nice. Lead with that.
This is No Escape. David Joe, can you see that?
I can see it.
So I'm going to list off some quotes from Davie Joe here. Davie Joe said in episode 17.4, I watched it last night and wrote all these down. He said it's under the radar. He said maybe it's racist. he said it's about Western imperialism, and he says critics don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then he said it's this kind of a movie. He said it's a solid movie. So it hit the Davie scale. He specifically used that word.
Before you say anything about this, I should also point out the fact that I can't imagine you liking this movie.
Now, why do you say that?
I think it may be a bit gratuitous in parts for you.
So you're playing on the fact that you think I'm a wuss.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty widely known, GB. I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because he called it a horror movie, and then you J Money were like, you call everything a horror movie. So here's what I have to say about it. Overall, it's nonstop action, which is exciting, but ultimately it's hollow. And I think this is the thing. I didn't mind the gratuitous in general, but I do think that it lacked depth. There was an opportunity here to explore what Davie mentioned. It was definitely like he called it Western imperialism. I call it American British corporate colonialism. is what I call it, and it's there, but all that there really is just one expositional speech by Pierce Brosnan here on the left. Other than that, it's just the chase, and it felt like there was an opportunity to unpack that a little bit. It felt like to some level there was some you know, the writer, who is also the director, who Davie Joe apparently admires, that they had sympathy with the natives, but the natives also, they're evil, like they behave terribly. So you know, it's hard to balance this concept of their anger, you know, like whether or not their anger is justified, because the violence certainly isn't. So you know, there could have been more to unpack in this movie, and the directors were just really interested in the action. It's frequently exciting, the action, but also pretty flawed. They achieved the tension aspect of it, but they also, from a directorial point of view, chose to do things slow motion. Now, I also happen to know that this was also, you know, it had to do with just logistics, in the sense that, you know, there were certain scenes, especially crowd scenes, that they were thrown out of because they couldn't shoot there for too long, because they were having big demonstration scenes, big like police versus citizen scenes that they were staging in the streets, and the government was afraid that was going to spark an actual demonstration, or actual violence. So they got shut down, and so part of that choosing to do slow motion in some of those moments seemed like it was born out of that. They didn't get enough footage, so they slowed it down to make it seem more impactful. But it actually ruined the momentum, you know, in terms of it, like the actual action scenes. I take it you still haven't seen this movie, J Money. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because you were extremely incredulous with our boy here when,
you know, based on the trailer that I saw, yes.
Yeah, no, I was incredulous too, and I you know, to Davie Joe's point, he says I didn't think I liked, he didn't think I'd like it, but I liked it more than I thought I would. The family dynamic I thought was strong. I thought the kids were particularly good, but my issue is with, like, once the rubber hits the road, meaning like once shit got real, I felt like the adults really struggled, you know, with the emotional segments, almost similar to when did that come up? Gugu Mbatha-Raw and Free State of Jones. Like, when things got really intense, I didn't buy them. Like, I just felt like they were, you know, I can see them acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought the score was uninspired. Ultimately, I would say it's a net negative. But I mean, I thought it was going to be awful. It wasn't awful. You know, like, there was obviously some good things I said about it, but you know, the problems to me were very clear. Davie Joe, I made my case. How do you respond?
Well, it's been what, a year, maybe longer since I saw it, but I mean, I think that it definitely benefited from some low expectations. But again, I also think that it's a solid action movie. I mean, I tend to go to these genre films and kind of judge them based on their own merits, kind of on their own terms, I should say. And I think it, for what it's going for, I think it's very successful. I think it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't see that coming. The trailer was horrible. The trailer was horrible.
The trailer was horrible.
Did you know I was going to talk about this movie tonight?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea which movie you were going to go with.
Are you happy? Are you happy that I did? I took your recommendation.
I am. I'm surprised that you picked that one. How did you pick that one?
I have the list. It was on the list. I just, you know, went down the list.
Very good.
I mean, I've seen a lot of the other movies that you recommended. That was one that I hadn't seen. J Money, are you going to go out and watch the movie now?
I mean, I'll consider it. You know, the thing is, I want Owen Wilson to stay alive, man. And if he gets suppressed about the lack of viewership on this movie, then I'm willing to support it from that point of view. I mean, you know, I want to keep him going because I like Owen Wilson. But you know,
shit just got dark here. I feel like shit just got dark.
Look, bleak, JB. Bleak is
Bleak, yeah. It's like we're in Grapes of Wrath all over again. All right, I'm gonna move on, and we do have a comment on on Facebook from a viewer who is excited about my top 5 because she is not sure she can even name 5 Matthew McConaughey films, which is a good segue to the top 5. I meant to email you, J Money. I was going to ask you if you can use the Lincoln commercial picture of.
That would have been good. That would have been good.
Of Matthew McConaughey. I thought that would have been good.
Yeah.
And my warning for this segment is J Money was not able to do a lot of my photos for this segment, so I tried to do them myself and crop them. It might be a work in progress. So they're not going to have J Money's pro touch. Now, given the options for a top 5 here, the boys here chose Matthew McConaughey films. Overall, now first of all, going over his canon before being assigned this by these boys, I realized I'm not sure. I feel that McConaughey is an actor with a lot of range. He's very good at choosing roles that work within his strengths. After looking back at some of these films, I've sort of devised this sort of rectangle of what Matthew McConaughey does well. Charm, confidence, mischievousness, and righteous indignation. And a lot of his films sort of center around those elements. Absolutely. And not too different from the way that Mel Gibson was when he was at his zenith. Apex. Now, this is not to say he hasn't been in some good movies, but there is a limitation to what I think he can do. If you really look at these roles, I'm not sure I'm seeing a lot of range. Even in his Oscar-winning role, that covers a lot of the 4 things that I mentioned. I would also say that Davie here set the rules for the top 5, and the rules were that he had to be a lead actor for the top 5, which took out some of the movies that I had in mind, including Magic Mike, Bernie, Wolf of Wall Street, Dazed and Confused, Mud, and The Paperboy. Technically, he wasn't the leads in any of those, and I might have 4 of those films I would have strongly considered to be on the list. And I watched 3 additional McConaughey films in preparation for this project. There's a lot I still haven't seen, but I made some discoveries. Not necessarily great McConaughey performances, but some good films that he's in. And there's some of his most famous films are films I don't like very much. And so some of the films that just are okay tend to populate the bottom of this list. And let's see if how these photos are gonna work out here. So let's start here, and my number 5 is
Failure to Launch. Nope.
Nope. Do you guys know this movie?
No, I do not.
Davie Joe? Davie shaking it. Davie Joe.
I got nothing.
This is called The Newton Boys from Davie's least favorite director, Richard Linklater. It's a lesser-known Linklater joint, and it encapsulates in all the things that we just talked about that McConaughey does well. And for those of you who don't know, it's a true story about. It's funny. It's another. It's just occurring to me that it's another true character that he's playing named Newton, except Newton in this case is the last name.
Yeah.
But it's this. So it's this true story about this group of brothers who rob a lot of banks in Texas and other areas nearby that. Juliana Margulies is also in the film. The film is mostly engaging and interesting. I had just seen Boxcar Bertha, just prior to that, so it covered similar ground, and that movie had a little more energy. This movie lacked a certain flair that other films of this ilk might have had. And I also think it suffered a little bit from trying to be a period piece on a Richard Linklater budget. And so there you can see a bad photo translation here. Let me see if I have a better one of this. Look how young he looks, though. Isn't that crazy? So still, I would say this is like a net positive for this movie. I think that It is it's worth watching, and Linklater obviously is a very gifted guy. Like Ethan Hawke is really, really good. I would say same thing here, so whatever. Steve Ulrich is actually really good, so it's definitely worth your time. You guys, it sounds like, have never even heard of this movie.
True. It's funny, when I saw the photo earlier, I was like, is this the Linklater version of, like, Young Guns? I mean, it was kind of a weird ensemble cast of characters that have gone on and become really, recognizable in their own right, so it's
It is available for streaming on Netflix, I'm telling you guys, but also our audience. It is currently available on Netflix and easy to watch.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah, well, Jimmy, you've got so many films on your leftovers list that,
I know.
JD, I want to tell you that there will be in an upcoming episode an update, a Linklater update.
Oh.
So look out for that.
Interesting.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So next is I remember seeing an article, and I think it was the Philadelphia Inquirer. Back when I was a young lad, about Hollywood's newest leading man, right before this next film came out. And the article said he was reminiscent of the old-style movie star, and in this film they may have actually gotten that right. Let's see if this photo works. It does. This is. You guys know this film?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Davie?
Definitely.
Definitely. I cannot believe I have a Joel Schumacher film on my list, but there it is.
Yeah.
This is A Time to Kill. And it's tailor-made for what we now know to be Matthew McConaughey's wheelhouse: charm, mischievousness, righteous indignation. It's really everything that we see in him. I think it's still a little rough around. He's still a little rough around the edges. And being a Joel Schumacher film, I guess the film is as well. But it has some great performances, some great support by Sandy Bullock and Samuel L. Jackson, whose photos are supposed to be coming up now, but it does not look like it's working.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, is that come up?
That's up.
There you go. That's not too bad.
That's not bad.
Photo-wise. And it's also one of the better, I think it's like the second or third best Grisham adaptation. It's between the two Schumacher one's The Client and this, with The Firm being the best one. So yeah, I mean, like, again, it's out of this top 5, it's like okay, but I mean, it's fiery, it's energetic, unlike the Newton Boys. It's impactful, it's passionate. So again, a net positive, I think for this movie. What do you guys have to say about Time to Kill?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it since it was in the theater, so I'm going on some very vague memories. But it's funny because I do remember being impressed by Matthew McConaughey, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the first time I saw him in a movie. So even that.
Yeah, unless you were ahead of the curve and saw Dazed and Confused way ahead of your time.
No, I did not. So there you go.
I would say that this is a good choice, but The Rainmaker is the best Grisham adaptation. Francis Ford Coppola.
Better than The Firm? The Firm's outstanding.
Better than The Firm. You heard it here.
Yeah, but you heard it from Davie Joe, so how much you really gonna listen to that? Wow, Dave Mike gave me a mean look.
I don't know Rainmaker, but The Firm sucks. How can you say it's like a great movie?
The Firm?
The Firm with Tom Cruise?
You saying The Firm sucks?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised that you're so impressed by it.
Oh, I love The Firm. I think it's really, really strong.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I think it's really well done. That surprised me to think it sucks. I mean, obviously, we were ahead of schedule, but now I want to like open up The Firm, but maybe another time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time, but I think it's super smart and really Sidney Pollack, really strong directing, great performances all around. Gene Hackman, Jean Triplehorn's finest work of her career.
Hmm.
But do you also so you like The Rainmaker too?
No, I said I hadn't seen The Rainmaker, so I really can't speak to that comparison.
I actually think The Rainmaker is not a very good movie. I like one outfit choice in it. Roy Scheider has a really good outfit, but other than that. No, it's a really brilliant Coppola costume choice. But aside from that, talk about heavy-handed and overly sentimental, The Rainmaker, as opposed to The Firm, which is edgy, at least for 1993. Anyway.
I saw it in 1993, so maybe I really shouldn't talk about it at all because it's been a while.
Oh, there we go. All right. So this next film, my number 3, and we are now 1 minute behind schedule, so I'll try and catch up because I doubt you guys have seen this movie. The next movie is the film that was my big discovery of this project. It came on Netflix. It came in the DVD, and I had super low expectations. Talk about low expectations. And the movie blew me away. I hope this photo works. Give it to me. There it is. Do you guys know this movie by the photo?
No. No.
So this movie is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, one of a series of romantic comedies that Matthew McConaughey made in what he considers the low point of his career. But this movie is possibly silly by 21st century standards. It's from 2003. But you take the same premise and plot and place it in a 30s screwball comedy and it'd be considered a lovable masterpiece. It's got elements of Bring Up Baby. The script is super smart. It's a great homage to those earliest romantic comedies. It's super precise. It's near perfect in that regard. I think our girl Kate Blanchett here.
Kate Hudson.
Oh, sorry, Jesus. Whoa. Yeah, Kate Hudson channels her mother from a comedic point of view here. She's luminescent. So, like some great comedic work. Do you guys know the premise of the movie at least?
She has to lose a guy in 10 days.
Well, there's more to it than that. He also has to. What's that, Davie?
That was going to be my guess too.
No.
I mean, it's more. There's more to it than that. He actually also has to make a girl fall in love with him in 10 days. So the premise is she's trying to date him and lose him within a 10-day period, but he needs to make her fall in love with him. So they both need to stay together, but she's trying to make him dump her. Hijinks ensue, and it's an outlandish premise and requires some contrivance, but that's true of The Awful Truth, The Bringing Up Baby, you know what I mean? It feels perfectly at home from a 30s point of view, and in that sense, I think it's really smart and a lot of fun. Oh, I guess our first bad photo here, but so it's like a lot of McConaughey's work. It's mostly charm, chemistry, timing, but that's true again of the best of the 30s comedies. The other we haven't done one on the show, I don't think. We have one coming up with some musical elements, but next year sometime. But this is also the film debut of Kathryn Hahn, who is pretty awesome in this movie and really stands out. So anyway, that's what I'd say about that. I assume you guys have not seen this film.
No, but honestly, the way you're framing it, I'm kind of intrigued now. Because I definitely am on board with 30 screwball comedy.
Right, but I mean, and I think that's the expectation you have to have, because I mean, I feel like that modern audiences didn't see that and rejected it. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think if you see through that and accept it for what it is, this homage, I think. Excuse me, it's very successful, and talk about you will sweat more than I am right now from the charm in this movie and the sex appeal of these people. Yeah. Davie Joe?
I'd watch it if someone in the room wanted to watch it. I can't.
Now, what is your major drawback here? What are you afraid of?
It's a movie that's called How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I'm having a hard time with that.
Look at you being so judgmental.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know what to tell you, man. But I'm not saying I would never see it. I just can't imagine, given all the movies in the world, that I'm going to see this one.
Look, if I never had a Matthew McConaughey top 5 to make, then I wouldn't have seen it either. So I get you from that point of view.
And this is what impresses me, like your dedication to this.
I want you to take special note of that as our arguments.
Noted.
Noted.
All right. Well, I know you. I mean, like, and look, a lot of those other like Failure to Launch I have seen in the past, and it's a very bad movie. So like, there are bad romantic comedies from Matthew McConaughey, but this is not one of them. And certainly, charm, confidence, and charisma work well in that genre. And I'm excited for J Money to potentially watch it and get behind it. So that like it's the big like I don't want to say it's the big surprise because this next one's going to surprise you guys too. This next movie is I know you guys already hate, and you already like made fun of it as I was, when you were like suggesting I was going to watch it. Oh, and that reminds me. So this next movie was like My Man from U.N.C.L.E. from 2005, the movie that was too much fun for me not to include on my top 10 list. So here it is. Picture work. There it is.
Ah. Is that Sahara?
It is Sahara.
Sahara.
And Davie, like, I'm surprised, like, now this movie got bad reviews as well, and Davie, if you don't like this movie, I'm gonna be disappointed in you. And I just want to point out, y'all, I own this movie. That's how much I enjoyed it. It was my number 5 of 2005, and I think it is it's terrific. I think that it's a super intelligent script, for as far as action movies are concerned. It's good story and it's super exciting. And we talk a lot about off-screen space when making these action films. I think this is very inspired by Spielberg in that regard. I think that and McConaughey is obviously doing his thing. And sorry, these photos aren't working as well as I'd like them to. But I mean, like he's charming and intelligent and confident and cocky. Like all those things. But the action scenes are really, really exciting and smart. And I particularly like Steve Zahn in this movie because he's comic relief ultimately, but he's good with a gun. He's good with a punch. He's got. He can do a lot in this movie, so he's not the normal just comic foil. He's not bumbling. He's comic, but he's also like useful, in a clinch, so to speak. And so bad photo. Rainn Wilson also really good in this movie, in a supporting role. I'm actually shocked that it wasn't as more successful. I think I didn't rewatch it for this, but I watch it like once every couple of years, and I'm surprised it isn't more successful and popular. I'm missing. Oh, there it is. So anyway, I have to assume you guys have seen this movie.
Oh no, I definitely have not.
No, I haven't seen it either.
You avoided it. You avoided it.
Well, it's not so much that I actively avoided it, but it's interesting that you bring up the idea that nobody's really seen it. To me, it's really a failure of marketing in a very strong way. I mean, I think the title is awful, just in terms of like gathering interest. In terms of the trailer that I saw, it looked very generic, and I think that's part of the problem with this property in general. There was nothing larger to tie it to. It was not built on anything to begin with.
I think it was the title of the book, though.
But that's not a good reason to necessarily continue it through. I mean, sure, that might have been the title of the book, but it's a title that's not going to land for anyone. It doesn't really mean anything.
Well, except, I mean, at the time the Clive Cussler book series was popular.
But when did it come out? In the 80s?
Oh, I don't know that exactly.
I mean, were they trying to establish this as sort of as a property that they were going to develop sequels for, do you think? Or was it the kind of thing where...
Yes, I do think that. And I would have seen those because it was really fun. They're a good team. McConaughey and Zahn are a really good team. And Davie Joe, let me tell you, this is your kind of movie, man. This is like sharp action with good comedy.
I'll take a look at it, and I'll say that the title is vastly superior to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So.
Both titles are appropriate to me.
I think that just in general, though, nothing about it seemed to stick out to audiences. Like there was nothing special about it. There was something to really connect people to, and I feel like that's why it suffered in some ways. I think it was in and out Nobody really cared. Nobody really wanted to focus on it. Because I've never actually heard anything bad about it, other than the fact that it was a massive flop.
Yeah.
But
everyone that went to see it with me enjoyed it. Like,
yeah.
I don't think we knew it was a flop at the time, but we all went and we're like, wow, that was so good. And even when I see some of those people again, they're like, yeah, remember that movie Sahara? Like that nobody ever talks about.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, and I made my brother watch it, and he's even a bigger, like he's even.
No, it could be incredibly charming. I mean, I actually have nothing against it. I'd actually kind of like to see it. I just feel like it was not really marketed as a big blockbuster movie, and I think that's what it needed to become if it was going to garner interest.
But I mean, it's definitely influenced by the Indiana Jones film. Like, there's that, but in a modern setting, but he's that guy, kind of swashbuckling guy, to some degree.
Or like Romancing the Stone, or even The Mummy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, like, he's got the sidekick, element, and he's not even a sidekick. They're like almost equal partners. But it's a really enjoyable ride, and maybe it was higher on my top 10 that year because it was so undervalued. But I mean, like, certainly in this list of Matthew McConaughey films, it gets high marks as my number 2. Okay. Look at all these movie recommendations you guys are getting. All the more movies that are going on your leftovers list.
Great! I can't wait to add that to my list. That'll be fantastic.
Oh, don't worry. I'll add it to the list for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
All right. So what's coming up next here? Number 1. All right. So I saw this next film I actually saw it initially as a play off Broadway in 1997 with Scott Glenn playing the titular role. Come on, photo. Anybody know this movie?
I'm looking.
I guess that's a no. It's only from a couple years ago. I think it was 2012. It's called Killer Joe. It's directed by William Friedkin, Oscar-winning director William Friedkin, and was a big part of the McConaughey comeback. It's a great play by Tracy Letts, the same writer that did August Osage County, same playwright.
Sure.
And also, here's your tidbit. So I saw Scott Glenn play the Killer Joe role. Mike Shannon played the role that Emile Hirsch plays in the film, and Amanda Plummer plays the role that Gina Gershon plays in the film. I assume you guys. Sounds like you guys have not seen this movie either.
Nope.
No, I haven't seen it.
Have you even heard of it, Davie Joe?
No.
Crickets? I can't see you if you're shaking your head.
No, he said no. He said no.
Okay. So, wow, you guys haven't even heard of this movie. I don't even know how to...
I've heard of it. Nobody saw it. Again, it was in and out, right? It was kind of a quick...
Yeah, well, it was an indie film nominated for some of those Indie Spirit Awards things. This photo doesn't appear to be coming up. Let me know if it comes up while I search for the next one. But, so, I mean, this is by far McConaughey's best performance. Is that working? There it is. Yeah. It is... It's where, we talked about the things he does best, and certainly the charm is a factor here, but this is his darkest character that I've ever seen him play. This is the role I think he was Oscar-worthy for. I also think that Juno Temple is Oscar-worthy herself in a supporting role. And I really like her in everything she does. She's super strong. It's a riveting, tense character study that translates to cinema surprisingly well. I mean, which is not really I didn't think it would be that easy, but Friedkin did it terrifically. I mean, I actually thought this was going to be the movie was so good. I thought this was going to be Friedkin's comeback. And here you can see most of the movie takes place in a single room, and you can sort of see it, a more proscenium type shot here. Wide shot for those of us with Thomas Hayden Church, Matthew McConaughey, and Gina Gershon, and of course I mentioned Emile Hirsch and Juno Temple round out the cast. It slid under the radar. They say that a true test of a director's work is adapting a play to the screen, and this is a great example. Polanski's become the master of that in the last few years. with whether it's Carnage or Venus in Fur or Death and the Maiden. But here Friedkin does them one better. I think this is better than any of those films. It should have been Friedkin's comeback, but he remains, a guy working on the fringes of the Hollywood system here, for better or worse.
Mm.
And you guys, I assume, have no comments about this movie because you haven't seen it, right?
Yeah, no, sadly.
So this is number 1. So, I mean, I almost feel like if I'm going to put it on your list, it's got to go to the top.
Put it on the list. Top.
Good point. Good point.
Davie Joe, do you have anything you want to say here?
No, I mean, I'm interested.
Look at all these. I thought it's because they chose the Matthew McConaughey top 5 specifically because they thought there was something that they couldn't get engaged with. It wasn't some of the old movies that so then maybe they thought they could get more involved with the McConaughey top 5, and so that crashed and burned.
Why do you not put the Lincoln Lawyer on the top 5?
You think it needs to be on here?
I mean, I haven't seen, any. Have I seen any of these? One. I've seen Time to Kill. So it would have been numbers, 1 through 4 probably for me, but
So the Lincoln. So you think the Lincoln Lawyer is a good movie?
I remember liking it. I don't remember much about it, but I remember thinking it was pretty good.
Well, I mean, there's some obvious omissions here, and he won an Oscar for a film called Dallas Buyers Club, which is okay movie, but I mean, I thought about it making number 5. I even one point did, but I just couldn't, in good conscience, do it because I just don't like it that much. I admire his performance. I admire Jared Leto's performance more, but I don't admire the movie that much. I think it's an average, okay movie. I didn't feel, and I realized I just like Newton Boys more. And Interstellar is not a film that I really like. It would qualify, I think, but I don't really like that movie. The only other movie that I sort of considered, but was Ed TV, which I think is underrated, but still not better than Newton Boys, I think.
And
I had forgotten about her. I liked Interstellar. I'm surprised you didn't like it.
Not enough to be on this. Again, these aren't movies that I hate. Interstellar, Dallas Buyers Club, and Ed TV. I don't hate them, but I certainly don't like them. If you catch the difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, more indifference than anything else. J Money, with us, the camera's on you.
yeah, it's funny because I'm looking at McConaughey movies in general, and I think part of the problem is that we're looking for movies where he is the lead character, because there are so many great McConaughey performances where he's not the lead character, and I know you touched on that earlier as well.
That was Davies' rule.
Yeah, Davies' rule makes sense. I might have put Dallas Buyers Club on this list because it has become very prominent. I'm with you. It's not the kind of movie that I thought was the best movie in the world. I think that he does a great job in it. I also think that Interstellar is a movie that I think has a lot of flaws, as much as there are parts of it I like. But again, I like his performance in it. I don't know.
And again, this top 5 wasn't about his top 5 best performances necessarily.
Oh, right. Okay. So fair point. I'm trying. I don't even know.
That was one of the things. That was one of the specific things I asked Davie Joe. Did he want performances or he wanted films? He wanted films, but he had to be the lead. Those were the rules.
That's a really defined list then, because even then I don't really know. How about Reign of Fire? Huh?
Actually, that's what I missed. I haven't seen Reign of Fire.
I like that one.
Reign of Fire. I it.
I think Reign of Fire is also a movie that was overlooked and is underrated in the same way that maybe Sahara is as well. I mean, I think that it's actually kind of interesting as a movie, but there's just not a lot you can pick out from this list of criteria. Really, there's just not a lot of movies, right?
Well, there are. We just haven't seen them because a lot of them are under the radar. A lot of them are under the radar.
Yeah. This is
recent films like Free State of Jones,
right,
and Interstellar and Dallas Buyers Club. Like he's at the apex of his career now.
Yeah,
and a lot of his films are not films that I'm loving. And Mud was a great film, but he was supporting character in it ultimately.
Yeah.
And to your point about Dallas Buyers Club, I think it's a good character and a good performance, but again, it does fit that rectangle McConaughey.
Absolutely.
not really ranging at all.
No, it's within the box you're talking about. It's just that he does it so well that I think that, you know.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But Killer Joe just about the box a little bit for what it's worth. Now, regardless of the order I put them in, which of the movies that you haven't seen that I listed are you most interested in checking out?
Killer Joe. I mean, I remember hearing about it when it came out as well, so I feel like I should see that.
David.
Killer Joe and Newton Boys.
You know what? Sahara is second for me.
Yeah, and Sahara. Yeah, I'll see that someday.
Okay. Man, but I am excited about the idea of J Money watching How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Like, that sounds like really exciting to me. But you know, maybe, you know, but obviously, you know, it's third best on this list. All right, so I want to get well, first of all, let's say goodbye to the Matthew McConaughey. All right. That was the JB's top 5 Matthew McConaughey movies, so that's taken care of. Now it's time for the recap, and I don't have a graphic for the recap, so maybe we'll add that. We've got a month. We'll add that for the next time. We'll do the recap now. So you people at home, you got to get your pens and pencils and papers and pads, because we're about to go through all the movies we talked about tonight. So you can make make a list. Some fans have tweeted us their photos of the list that they made during this segment, so you can go back and be like, okay, oh yeah, that was the film they talked about in passing, and so forth and so on. And in charge of the recap is our fearless leader, Drunk Dave Joseph.
Okay, so we talked about The Natural.
I love that it's on the little Howard Johnson paper. That's cute.
Yeah. Thanks.
The Naturals because of its
Yeah. So The Natural, Seabiscuit and Pleasantville.
Director Gary Ross.
Yeah. Director Gary Ross. And Once Upon a Time in the West and On Golden Pond both have Henry Fonda. These are movies that were later in his career that you enjoyed. The Letter and Our Town and The Westerner and Philadelphia Story, Rebecca and Rebecca are all movies, I believe, from 1940 that, you know, we talked about, and, you know, just kind of listing the great movies from 1940, and, you know, we talked about which one of them would have been the best. Westworld is a show that is going to be is a movie that they're turning into a television show. Movie that you both like very much. Entourage and Sex and the City were examples of TV shows that had movies that weren't successful. The second Sex and the City, the first Sex and the City was successful. Well, at least commercially successful. No Escape was a movie that you revisited and didn't hate as much as you thought you would. It's an awesome movie, by the way. Everyone should watch it. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
Fun?
Yeah. No, it's a thrill ride.
I believe there was a different word that we used for it, but that's okay.
You said horrific, and what was the other one? Gratuitous?
It's
Solid?
definitely gratuitous.
Was solid not that?
Oh yeah, solid. Solid was definitely.
I believe the word that we used, but.
And then just here are some Matthew McConaughey movies: The Newton Boys, A Time to Kill, The Firm. I pointed out that no, sorry. Not The Firm. You had mentioned that Time to Kill was the second best, I believe you said, Grisham adaptation, second to The Firm. And then I corrected you and let you know that The Rainmaker is the best.
Rainmaker is fourth best. That's right. Fourth best, Rainmaker.
And
fifth best.
Incidentally, mentioned that he hates The Firm. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, another McConaughey film that made your list. And you compared it to failure, or no, you compared it to bringing up Baby. A failure to launch, that's another McConaughey film.
That's one that I said was bad, though.
That you didn't like. That was another McConaughey rom-com, I guess. Sahara was a movie that made your list. A movie that a lot of people overlooked. It was kind of a commercial flop, but you think it's overlooked. Flew under the radar. Some examples of movies like that were The Mummy and Romancing the Stone, like Sahara, not under the radar, those two. But Killer Joe was another McConaughey film. I mentioned the Lincoln Lawyer as movie, one that didn't make your list. Dallas Buyers Club didn't make your list. Interstellar didn't make your list. NTB didn't make your list. In Reign of Fire, I believe you said you haven't seen, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and that's one that I saw in theater. I remember liking it, but that was a long time ago. So that's all the ones that I got. I probably missed a few.
You didn't mention anything that came up during the Indie Spotlight, and one that stands out is featuring the same actor and also takes place in Iran. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which was our Indie Spotlight from episode 9, that came up during the Indie Spotlight.
Okay.
I mean, anything else that you remember from the Indie Spotlight, either of you?
No.
I can tell you that these guys, basically our favorite indies that we've discussed in the last 10 times were Shame and Melancholia, and our favorite classics were Goodfellas and was yours Grapes of Wrath, I guess, J-Money? Is that what I...
No, mine was Lion in the Winter, which is why I didn't want to...
Oh, that's why you wanted to wait. Okay,
yeah.
Lion in Winter. Yeah. One of my top 20 of all time. So, yeah, cool. Oh, that's right, and we didn't mention Lion in Winter. So, cool. Very good. All right, so how do you guys feel about the evening overall?
Good. It was a solid night of entertainment. It was
Are you sure?
I feel like it was not too bright, and I also feel like, holy shit, man! There we go.
So you feel like tonight was pretty solid?
Yeah. Also, I mean, I do think that we had a good color palette between the three of us, but I'll go with solid.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to change it to good color palette.
No, solid's good. We can. Oh, well, there we go.
All right. I'm happy to go back to solid. It's I'm flexible.
I understand. Oh, look at that. See?
Yeah. Okay, cool. And Davie Joe, how do you feel about the evening overall?
Pretty good about it. I feel pretty good about it. I like this West Coast thing where it's not like the middle of the night when it's over. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the things about our next broadcast. Oh, and I've already failed myself here by I had this picture up.
You failed us all.
But that is one thing about our next broadcast is I'm going to be back east starting probably July 20th, so which means July 29th or 8th, July 28th, I'll be back east. So I don't even know what apartment I'm going to be doing it in. It's going to be a surprise still. But I'll be back east, so we'll all be in the East Coast time zone, and it'll be 11:03 to all of us this time next month. Our current feature is Star Trek Beyond. There should be a colon in there. I should have caught that. Star Trek Beyond.
I debate that because I looked it up. It was both ways.
J-Money, Davie Joe, you're the expert. What do you think?
I think I'm not the expert, but it doesn't really bother me either way.
Okay. Well, anyway, I had a great time talking with you guys, and of course, you guys in the audience. And we got several comments. Oh, I should update you guys that we got a comment from someone on our Circumstance show saying that they had not seen the film, but now that we recommended it, they are going to go out and see it. So we are providing viewership to Circumstance. So we will see you guys again, meaning, well, these guys, but also the audience on, I think it's a Thursday, July 28th. Is that right? Wednesday or Thursday, July 28th. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, where we start with Star Trek Beyond. Until then, this meeting of the No Name Cinema Society is adjourned.